स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Namah Sarvebhyah. Very good afternoon to all the Pujya Swamijis, dignitaries, devotees, faculties and students. Seshadripuram College, in association with Seshadripuram Institute of Management Studies, is organizing an interactive lecture session by Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj on manifesting divinity. With this, we shall begin this wonderful program by invoking the blessings of Guru and Almighty. I now would like to request Professor S. Muralidharan, convener, Vivekananda Study Center, along with the students of Saudhamini Samskrita Vedika, to render Samskrita Prarthana, composed and set to tune by Professor S. Muralidharan sir in praise of Swami Vivekananda.
पूर्ण ध्येय संयुता शेषाद्रिपुर विद्या संस्था जयतु सर्वदा शारदाम्ब करुणया सीमयान्वहं मौल्यमय शिक्षणे दीक्षितव्रता संस्कृति सहिता समृद्धिभिर्युता सत्कीर्तिराजिता नैकाभिः शाखाभिः सह विभूषिता विश्वस्तर विद्या सुकौशलमतिदा समाजाभिवृद्धिपरा कार्यतत्परा सत्कर्म धर्म सुगुण शान्ति बोधदृष्टिया समत्वसाधिका लोकमानिता आनन्दामृतदा सत्त्वभरित तत्त्वपूर्ण ध्येय संयुता शेषाद्रिपुर विद्या संस्था जयतु सर्वदा जयतु सर्वदा जयतु सर्वदा जयतु सर्वदा.
ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः. सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि. With great reverence and wholehearted prostrations to all the Pujya Swamijis, we now render the Samskrita Prarthana Geetam, specially composed in praise of Swami Vivekananda, as a sincere obeisance to the lotus feet of Swami. May we all seek Swami Vivekananda, the embodiment of dharma and the epitome of wisdom, and live by his thoughts to blend our lives with ethical, moral and cultural values which bestows Viveka and Ananda, that ultimately leads us to experience palpable peace, unalloyed bliss, and eternal emancipation. Dharma prachara daksham vai jnana vairagya sanyuktam vivekananda varyantam deshikam samupasmahe vivekananda varyantam deshikam samupasmahe
विवेकानन्द गुरुं आश्रयामः सन्ततं विवेकं चानन्दं प्राप्नुयामः सत्वरं विवेकानन्द गुरुं आश्रयामः सन्ततं विवेकं चानन्दं प्राप्नुयामः सत्वरं विवेकानन्द गुरुं आश्रयामः सन्ततं श्रीरामकृष्ण चरणाम्भोज भृङ्गायमाणं विश्ववन्द्यं श्रुतिशिखरतत्त्वार्थ सारप्रदायकं श्रुतिशिखरतत्त्वार्थ सारप्रदायकं धीमन्तं ध्येयपूर्णं बोधतं तं धीमन्तं ध्येयपूर्णं बोधतं तं शिवदं विवेकानन्दगुरुम् आश्रयामः सन्ततं विवेकं चानन्दं प्राप्नुयामः सत्वरं विवेकानन्दगुरुम् आश्रयामः सन्ततं शमदमतितिक्षा शान्त्यादिगुणयुत स्वीयधीरवाग्भिः धर्मस्थापकम् पाश्चात्यदेशेऽपि सर्वधर्मगोष्ठ्या पाश्चात्यदेशेऽपि सर्वधर्मगोष्ठ्या स्वदेशीयकीर्ति ध्वजस्थापकम् स्वदेशीयकीर्ति ध्वजस्थापकं वरदं विवेकानन्दगुरुम् आश्रयामः सन्ततं विवेकं चानन्दं प्राप्नुयामः सत्वरं विवेकानन्दगुरुम् आश्रयामः सन्ततं शेषाद्रिपुर पदवीविद्यालय स्वाध्ययनकेन्द्रस्य स्फूर्तिदायकम् शेषाद्रिपुर पदवीविद्यालय स्वाध्ययनकेन्द्रस्य स्फूर्तिदायकम् सज्जनहृदयेषु द्योतमानन्दं सज्जनहृदयेषु द्योतमानन्दं वीरसन्न्यासिनं वन्दे माम् विशक्तिचोदकं वन्दे माम् ऐकमत्यसाधकं वन्दे माम् शुभदं विवेकानन्दगुरुम् आश्रयामः सन्ततं विवेकं चानन्दं प्राप्नुयामः सत्वरं विवेकानन्दगुरुम् आश्रयामः सन्ततम् आश्रयामः सन्ततम् आश्रयामः सन्ततम्
धन्यवादः।
Thanks to Sir and team for a mellifluous invocation. An open door is a welcome that makes a stranger into friend. With this, I would like to call Dr. Meera H.N., Principal, Sheshadrapuram College, to welcome Pujya Swamijis, dignitary, and the gatherings.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries present here. I, Dr. Meera H.N., Principal, Sheshadrapuram College, welcome you all to the interactive session on Manifesting Divinity organized by Vivekananda Study Center of Sheshadrapuram College and Sheshadrapuram Institute of Management Studies. We, on behalf of our esteemed management, Sheshadrapuram College and Sheshadrapuram Institute of Management Studies, are extremely privileged and happy to have Swami Nityastanandaji Maharaj, President Ramakrishna Math, Bengaluru. With wholehearted pranams, I welcome you to the program. Thank you. We, on behalf of our management, Sheshadrapuram College and Sheshadrapuram Institute of Management Studies, are extremely privileged and happy to have Swami Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj, Minister in charge, Vedanta Society of New York. With all wholehearted pranams, I welcome you to the program. Thank you. I am very much glad to welcome all the esteemed Swamijis and Sannyasis of various mutts of Ramakrishna Mission. I am happy to welcome Swami Tatyuktanandaji Maharaj, I am glad to welcome Swami Mangalanathanandaji Maharaj. I am very happy to welcome Swami Dharmarathanandaji Maharaj. I am glad to welcome Swami Hari Mahimanandaji Maharaj. I feel honored to welcome Swami Anila Nandaji Maharaj. I am happy to welcome Swami Mayadipanandaji Maharaj. I feel honored to welcome Shri Vishweshwara Hegde Kageri, Sabhapatigalu, Karnataka Vidhana Sabhe, Bengaluru. On behalf of each and everyone, I would like to welcome you to the program, sir. I feel honored to welcome Professor Gopalan Jagadish, Professor of Aerospace Engineering, Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. On behalf of each and everyone here, I welcome you to the program, sir. I feel honored to welcome Shri K. Narendra sir, past Secretary, Shri Ramakrishna Vidyalaya Boys, Old Boys Association, Mysuru. On behalf of each and everyone, I would like to welcome you to the program, sir. I feel honored and happy to welcome Dr. Nadoja Dr. Udepi Krishna sir, Honorary General Secretary, Sheshadrapuram Educational Trust. It is my utmost pleasure to welcome Shri M.S. Nataraj Sir, Assistant Secretary, Sheshadrapuram Educational Trust, and also the Governing Council Chairman of Sheshadrapuram College. I wholeheartedly welcome you to the program, sir. I would like to welcome Dr. Vinay Sir, Director, SIMS. On behalf of each and everyone, I welcome you to the program, sir. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Bhargavi, Director, Post-Graduation Department of Sheshadrapuram College. Welcome, Dr. Bhargavi. It is my pleasure to welcome faculty coordinators and students of Vivekananda Study Center of various degree colleges of Sheshadrapuram Educational Trust. On behalf of each and everyone, I welcome all the faculty coordinators and students of Vivekananda Study Center. I feel happy to welcome all the public devotees of Ramakrishna Mission, media representatives of, and also the coordinators of Vivekananda Study Center. We are happy to welcome all the teaching and non-teaching staff of Sheshadrapuram College and also from the Sheshadrapuram Institute of Management Studies. And I would like to welcome all the parents and students of Sheshadrapuram College. I'm very happy to welcome Girijanandaji Maharaj to the program. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am, and welcome to you too. Now, I would like to request Dr. Bhargavi VR, Director, Postgraduate Department, to introduce today's chief guest. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Anusha. I truly deem it an honor and privilege to introduce Pujya Swami Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj, Minister in charge, Vedanta Society of New York, to the August gathering this evening. Swami Sarvapriyanandaji is the minister and spiritual leader of the Vedanta Society of New York since January 2017. He joined the Ramakrishna Mutt in 1994 and received sannyasa in the year 2004. He has served as an acharya of the Monastic Probationers Training Center at the Belur Mutt, India. He has also served in various capacities in different educational institutes of Ramakrishna Mission in India and as the Assistant Minister of the Vedanta Society of Southern California. He was an inaugural fellow at the Harvard Divinity School during the year 2019 and 20. Swamiji is a well-known speaker on Vedanta and his talks are popular with the internet audience. He has been a speaker on various prestigious fora such as TEDx, SAND, Google Talk, and many more platforms. He has also been invited to speak at several universities across the world, including the Harvard University. Swamiji has engaged in dialogue with eminent thinkers like Deepak Chopra, Rupert Spira, Rich Archer, and many more in the list. Swamiji has played a prominent role in organizing and participating in various interfaith panels and seminars, including speaking at the World Parliament of Religions in Toronto in 2018 and at the United Nations headquarters in New York. His popular talks have been compiled into a collection of e-books, Who Am I?, What is Vedanta, and Dissolve into Infinity are the titles currently available on Amazon Kindle. Swamiji, we are all truly blessed to have your gracious presence today. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us commence the event with the auspicious lamp lighting ceremony as a tribute to Goddess Saraswati. I invite all the Swamijis, dignitaries, to light the lamp.
ज्योतिस्तव भानुमानहनिमे रात्रौ प्रदीपादिकं स्यादेवं रविदीपदर्शनविधौ किं ज्योतिराख्याहि मे चक्षुस्तस्य निमीलनादिसमये किं धीर्धियो दर्शने किं तत्राहमतो भवान् परमकं ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
The Sheshadripuram College PG Department of Commerce is starting a Center for Indian Ethos with an objective to reconnect with the Indian scriptures and philosophy to impart the eternal knowledge and wisdom to the students and various stakeholders. May I now request Swami Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj to kindly inaugurate the Center for Indian Ethos.
We also extend a welcome to Raju Chandrasekhar sir, Trust Member, Sheshadripuram Educational Trust. Welcome, sir. And we also extend a warm welcome to Srimati Savita Bai ma'am, Office Superintendent, Sheshadripuram College. Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, we rarely get this opportunity to listen from the greatest personalities like Swami Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj. Swamiji, request you to take over the session.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace. Peace, peace. Revered Swami Nityasthanji Maharaj, other revered respected dignitaries on the dais, other revered Swamijis present here, members of the faculty, staff, guests who have come, and my dear students. It really fills my heart with joy to see this very warm welcome which you have accorded all of us this afternoon. It's also an unexpected pleasure that I did not expect that I would have to inaugurate the Center for Indian Ethos here at Sheshadripuram College, but it's a great pleasure. I was just reminded, a few years back at Harvard University, there's a Center for World Religions. And when you walk into that center, you see a picture of Dr. Sarvapriyanandaji. So he was visiting Harvard University at that time, and they had caught hold of him that we are going to start this new center. Please inaugurate it today. So I'm sure the Center for Indian Ethos has a bright future ahead of it, and many, many generations of students will benefit from the beginning that we have made here today. I congratulate the innovative staff and the visionary leaders of Seshatripuram College on this wonderful initiative. So, the subject today, manifesting divinity. Many of you may know where this term comes from. Swami Vivekananda famously defined religion as the manifestation of the divinity already present within us. Manifestation of the divinity already present within us. That's what we will explore today. Now, just yesterday, or was it day before yesterday? RV University? Yesterday. So I'm jet lagged. I'm not very sure what's the date or the time. A lot of students were present there just like this, but there were a lot of guests also. And people often expect a Vedanta lecture from you. They always expect, who am I? Something like a YouTube lecture. But that day I gave a talk mainly focused at the needs of the students who were present. Today I'll do the opposite. The talk will be focused on those people here. There's so many here I can see who are lovers of Vedanta. So this talk is going to be primarily about Vedanta, but I'm sure even if you're not particularly interested in Vedanta, it's a subject that is close to the heart of any human being. How do we attain happiness? How do we attain fulfillment? Especially, how do we overcome suffering and sorrow in life? Now, who is not interested in that subject? We all are interested in that subject. That's what we are trying to do all the time in life. So, manifesting divinity. Now, there's an interesting angle to this. It is one thing to become enlightened, to realize, I am Brahman. You know, we heard the chanting, the beautiful chanting, Brahmevasmi, I am Brahman. This is another thing to get the benefits of that in one's day-to-day life. What I mean by that is this. Once, during my stint at the Harvard Divinity School, in a course on Buddhism, I remember there was a very interesting paper which we discussed in class. And the paper discussed what is enlightenment. What is enlightenment? People also ask, just yesterday somebody was asking, what is spiritual life? When you say goal is God realization, goal is moksha, goal is Brahmagyana, but what is that? What does that mean? And in that paper, two different models, two distinct models of enlightenment were discussed. One was, so one might think, so are they discussing Vedanta and Buddhism and spirituality in Harvard University? Yes, they are. They are. And a principal of a college in India, where I was giving an online talk, she said that it is so sad to hear that in Harvard University people are talking about Vedanta, Buddhism, Indian philosophy, and in our college we removed philosophy because no students are there. Only people are interested in engineering or medicine or something, management. So, yes, they are discussing that. And one of the subjects that this topic came up, what is enlightenment? Two models were discussed. Enlightenment from two distinct angles. One is what might be called the paradigm shift model of enlightenment. It was discussed in the context of Buddhism, but I will apply it to Vedanta. One is the paradigm shift model of enlightenment. What is the paradigm shift model? Those of us who study Vedanta, we know that our idea about ourselves, who am I? Our first reaction is, I am this person. I am Sarvapriyananda. Point yourself out. Here I am. I raise my hand. This is me. So this is this body and the personality, the mind within it. So we think of ourselves as persons. And that's very common. We don't even investigate that. So this person means this body, mind, personality. And then we come to Vedanta, then we do Vedanta Vichara, investigation, and then we come to see First intellectually, then experientially, we begin to see I am not literally this body. I am not literally just this bundle of flesh and blood. A doctor from Scotland wrote to me in an email suddenly that I had this epiphany, this realization. For the past 20 years or so, I've been examining scans of a human body. And today I suddenly felt, where am I in all of this? This body is a thing, it's a biological machine. In this machine, where am I? No way. Nowhere am I there. So I am not this body, nor am I this bundle of thoughts, ever-changing thoughts, ideas, emotions. So somebody said that, but I am both, body, mind together, that's who I am. Both together. All these changes, when we say from babyhood to childhood to middle age to old age, body changes so much. Which body? If I be on the body, which body? And we might say, no, all of it. That one also, this one also. I remember one sadhu in the Himalayas, humorously in Hindi, I'll translate. I think everybody understands Hindi. He said, Arey wah, gadha bhi aur ghoda bhi, ek saath. You are a donkey and a horse both together. How can you be the same person and with a body which is so changing, tremendously changing from birth to babyhood to childhood to middle age to old age? And the mind, imagine the mind, how much it has changed. Just a couple of days ago, I was transiting through Singapore, 2:30 a.m. in the morning, 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and one family, Indian family, was sitting there to catch the flight. They had a little kid, and the boy was cranky early in the morning, and to pacify him, the father gave him a chocolate bar, and his only mistake was he broke the chocolate bar and offered, and the boy burst out screaming. A whole departure lounge was filled with screams. Why? Bar is broken, chocolate bar is broken. You can eat it, there's no problem at all, but no, from a child's mind, it is a disaster. We all had minds like that at one point. Some still have minds like that. Vedanta shows us we cannot be this mind also. The mind has changed so much. Why can't I be the mind? When we had a mind like that baby's, that child's mind, I felt I am this one. Right now we have a much more mature, thoughtful, educated mind. Now we feel I am this one. This mind and that mind are very different. Then I, the one who am identifying with this one and that one, has to be different from these two, very different minds. Anyway, Vedanta Vichara goes on like that, and we are convinced. My point here is, at one point we become convinced, and if we really persist in it, really persist in it, we begin to see, I am this Sakshi, I am this witness consciousness. Yes, there is a mind, there is a body, there is a personality, but I am not the personality. I mean, even the very word personality, it means a mask. Persona, the original Greek word from which it comes, it means a mask. In those days in ancient Greece, they used to have these open-air amphitheater dramatic performances. And they would hold these big masks and deliver their lines. There would be a hole in the mask. Sona means sound. So persona, through which the sound comes. Anyway, personality means a mask. We nowadays have courses, personality development, mask development. Whatever we are not the mask. Who are we? The one who's wearing the mask. So we realize, I am this consciousness. Shankaracharya sings, Mano buddhi hankara chittani naham chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I am of the nature of consciousness, I am of the nature of bliss. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. This is enlightenment. This is self-realization. This is one model. That paper said this is the paradigm shift model of enlightenment. Paradigm shift means earlier I thought I was this person, this body-mind. Now I know I am consciousness, pure consciousness. One type of enlightenment. One aspect of enlightenment. And say, isn't this enlightenment? What else is it? But when we talk about enlightenment, we also mean something else. In that paper, it was talking about Buddha's enlightenment, the Bodhi. It is not just the realization of who I am or what I am. We also expect the qualities. In an enlightened person, we expect the qualities of a Shankara, of a Vivekananda, of a Buddha. the compassion, the perfect self-control, the fearlessness, the compassion, the feeling of oneness with all others, sacrificing oneself for the sake of others, all these great qualities we expect in an enlightened person. It is so strange if you say, yes, I am enlightened. Why are you getting angry? Oh, that's different. Why are you so greedy? Oh, that's different. I am enlightened. No, somehow we feel the two cannot go together. So this is another aspect of enlightenment. In that paper they called it the ethical manifestation model of enlightenment. So two sides of enlightenment. One is the paradigm shift from my awareness of what I am right now. I shift this identification from body-mind to pure consciousness. This is one. This is one aspect of enlightenment. The other aspect also is the divine qualities which you would expect in every religion, in every spiritual tradition. For a person who we think is spiritual, highly advanced, we expect these wonderful qualities in that person. So those qualities must manifest. It must be reflected in our life, in our behavior. So these two aspects of enlightenment, paradigm shift from Dehoasmi to Aham Brahmasmi, paradigm shift. And then ethical manifestation from Asurik to Daivi. So that manifestation must come. Then only we say enlightenment. And which model is correct? Both are necessary. And then now we understand the beauty of Swami Vivekananda's definition of religion. Notice, he said religion is the manifestation of the divinity within us. He did not say religion is the knowledge of divinity within us. Manifestation has two aspects. One is knowledge must be there. Second is it must be expressed in life. In my thought, in my speech, in my behavior, it must be expressed. Otherwise, I am a great Brahmagyani, but I have many complaints. One sadhu said, Rota hua jnani kisi ko pasand nahi hai. I have become a Brahmagyani and then I am grumbling and complaining all the time. This is bad, I have got this problem, that problem. That is not very convincing. So it must be manifest that after all, the whole purpose of Vedanta is atyantika dukkha nivritti paramananda praptischa, is complete cessation or transcendence of sorrow. Why I am saying transcendence and not cessation, that is the point. The complete transcendence of sorrow and attainment of fulfillment, bliss, happiness. These must be manifest. In the middle of life, I am fine in Vedanta class, but after the Vedanta class, I am a demon. I am fine in meditation, but after meditation is over, I am very angry. So what is the use of such meditation? So in the middle of life, I must be able to overcome suffering and attain bliss and function, at least better than I was able to function earlier. There's a beautiful story about this, manifesting the divinity, which it's from Yoga Vashishta. The story of a king and a queen. In some ancient kingdom, there was this queen. The queen was enlightened. Queen was a Brahmagyani. And one day the king asked the queen that, my dear, I notice one thing, that you are so peaceful and happy and joyful in the midst of so many troubles, ups and downs. So I have a question. How do you do it? What is your secret? And the queen said, I was waiting for you to ask. Then she taught him Vedanta, that there is a great secret, that we do not know who we are, and when we realize who we are, we go beyond sorrow, we attain peace, happiness. You are not the body, not the mind, you are this witness consciousness. All we study, Drigdrishya Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, Avasthatraya Vichara, all these wonderful things, she taught him. Her husband, the king. The king said, this is very good. I must realize this for myself. So I am going to transfer power to you. You rule the kingdom. I am going to take study leave. So king, study leave, also went to the forest, but there also some palace must be there. So stayed in the palace and studied and meditated and practiced until he got this realization, the Brahmagyana. Aham Brahmasmi realization. So like Shankaracharya, he could sing Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, very happy, staying like that. After some time, he returned to the capital and he said, My dear, what you taught me is true. You knew this so long ago, but you did not tell me this great secret. Well, we do not tell until we are asked. This is one interesting thing. Sadhus say, in Uttarakhand and all, they say, Baba, hum banner laga ke Vedanta nahi sikhate, poster laga ke. So, what we are doing is a big poster, Sarvapriyanandaji giving talk of. We do not speak until you are asked. Question must be there, then only answer is given. There must be seeking, then only the answer is supplied. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna said so many things, Krishna kept quiet. Only when he said, actually I am confused, I don't know what I am talking about, you only can teach me, please teach me. Then Krishna started teaching him. And that also throughout that thing, it is a dialogue. Once in a while, Arjuna would ask a question, prompt, then Krishna would start a new chapter. So, the queen said, I am very glad that you have realized. And the king said, I am very happy now, I am very peaceful. But I have another question. What is the question? You have realized this long ago. And you don't seem to be wanting to lead a life of peace and joy and bliss in meditation. I am doing that. Why don't you do that? Why are you busy in these day-to-day activities? And the queen said, I was waiting for you to ask. There's something more which I have not yet told you. Then she taught that this realization which you had, Aham Brahmasmi, with eyes closed, with eyes open, the world that you are seeing, the people that you are seeing, the kingdom that you are seeing, that is also that same Brahman. There is not one single person here. Yes, including your enemies also, who are really not your enemies. They are all appearances of the reality which you are. That Brahman which you are is appearing as all of this. With eyes closed, with eyes open, same reality. You realize this? Then your realization, this understanding of Brahman is not trapped within, with eyes closed in meditation. Again, some Babaji from Himalayas. If Brahman is available only in Samadhi, then the sadhu said, Lo, apne pyare ko Samadhi ke jail khane mein dal diya. You have put your beloved in the prison, in the jail of Samadhi. No, with eyes closed, with eyes open, Sri Ramakrishna would say, what? Only with eyes closed, with eyes open, God is not there. What kind of God is it? So, inside and outside, same. In retreat, in meditation, same Brahman. In action, in the kingdom, in the classroom, in the office, wherever you are, in the assembly, wherever you are, the same Brahman everywhere. That realization has to come. Then only there will be a full manifestation of that divinity. Now, today what I'm going to do in the time remaining to me is, it says interactive session. So I know, I'm not the only one who's going to speak, so you're going to speak too. What I'm going to do is take up one little teaching which Sri Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 2nd chapter, how to manifest this divinity. Arjuna asked this question. I've heard what you have taught about Vedanta. But then if I become enlightened, if I become a Jivan Mukta, Sthita Prajna, then what will it be like? What is it like to be enlightened? I know what it is like to be not enlightened. I am just this guy. But if I become enlightened, what will it be like? Sthita Pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava, and so on. So he asks these questions. And then Krishna gives some very powerful teachings. Now those teachings, they are not only about that enlightened person, but they are also about us. How can we use that knowledge? See, Shankaracharya in his commentary says that what is the use of these teachings for us? Yani eva kritarthasya lakshanani, tani eva sadhakasya sadhanani, yatna sadhyatvat. He says whatever the characteristics of this fully enlightened person Krishna is going to say, those are powerful practices for us. If we practice them, then we will also reach that full-blown enlightenment, that manifestation of divinity within us. How? Remember, what is the goal? How do we overcome suffering? How do we attain peace? Krishna, in the 55th verse, Krishna, 2nd chapter, 55th, he says that once in a while you should be absorbed in samadhi, we realize that you are your identity with Brahman, with that eyes closed kind of approach which that king first had. Then the next verse he says, when you open your eyes, what will happen? Krishna is saying, how do you manifest your divinity which you have realized in this life, in day-to-day life? Dukkeshu anudvigna mana, sukheshu vigata spriya, vitaraga bhayakrodha, stitadi muni ruchyate. Famous verse. Where he says, Dukkeshu anudvigna mana. Now when you open your eyes, in the mid there will be sukha and dukkha, pleasure and pain. Dukkha will continue. I am looking at some disappointed faces. Already dukkha has come. After enlightenment also dukkha will continue. After Brahmagyan also dukkha will continue. This is one great thing to understand. Problems in life, unpleasant situations are generated by our past karma, prarabdha karma. Whether you become Brahmagyani or not, karma does not care. It will keep on giving results. Causality will keep on working. And that way I think the ancient Mimamsakas, the Purva Mimamsakas were very right. They were staunch followers of what they call apurva, basically karmavada. Whatever is in the past karma, it will give results. We don't care for your Vedanta, Brahmagyan and all that. Karma will give results. As karma gives results, lots of problems will come. All our own creation from past lives. So the dukkha will come. It's like this. Dukkha will come, but how do you handle it? There's a beautiful story about Bhagavan Buddha, which I've repeated so many times. And now the problem with YouTube is, whatever you say, people have already heard. In one place, I went to give a talk and somebody said, will we get to hear something new this time? In New York, there's this a student of philosophy in New York University. After the lecture, she remarked to somebody else, and somebody told me, she remarked, same lecture every time. Unfortunately, I have only one thing to say, you are Brahman. That's the only thing I have got to say. Tattvamasi aham brahmasmi, there's only one old ancient message. So I have to give that same message in different combinations, with different spices added so that it becomes interesting. So the Bhagavan Buddha, that story, but it's really, so much clarity is there. What does spiritual life do? What can it do and what it cannot do? Somebody asked Bhagavan Buddha, a monk asked Bhagavan Buddha, and this is in the original Buddhist texts. Professor Arindam Chakravarti from University of Hawaii, who teaches Indian philosophy there, he told this story at Stony Brook in New York in the United States. A monk asked the Buddha, I have a question. What is the question? You taught that there is suffering in life. Buddha's famous four noble truths. There is suffering in life. Sarvam dukkham. There is sorrow. And you taught that there is a cause of sorrow, desire. And you taught there is an escape, a freedom from sorrow, nirvana. And you taught that there is this method. If you follow this method, you will get freedom from sorrow. What is sorrow? You said old age is sorrow, disease is sorrow, death is sorrow. In Bhagavad Gita also we read, Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. So this is the nature of sorrow, old age, disease, death. So what is your question? My question is that we are your followers. We are also growing old. We also get disease from time to time. Some of us have died. You are also getting old. Your health also is breaking down. One day, unfortunately, you will also die. So how have you overcome sorrow? You see, what is the question? Sorrow is old age, disease, death. How the Siddhartha became the Buddha, he saw those sights. Now you say that I have got bodhi and gone beyond sorrow. Please follow me. You will also go beyond sorrow. But then old age is coming to you. We are following you. Old age is coming to us also. Disease is coming to us also. And some of our friends have also died. And I know very soon we will also die. Then how did we overcome sorrow? This is my question. And the Buddha said, the nature of sorrow is like a man hit by two arrows. The first arrow is what the world throws at you. Unpleasant things, old age, disease, death, all these things come from the world. The second arrow is your reaction to all these things. And real suffering lies in the second arrow. What I have taught to you, O bhikkhus, what I have taught to you will remove that reaction, the suffering from that second arrow. About the first arrow, I cannot do anything. The first arrow, what the world throws at us, the problems in the world, that we have to deal at a worldly level. Disease, you have to deal with medicine and treatment. Old age, death, no treatment, but as far as possible, you have to manage in this world. There is no way of stopping it completely. But science, technology, medicine, health, all of these will help. The second arrow, the real suffering from within, any doctor knows, those who have emergency room doctors and all, what they face. I mean, this is just by the way. Recently, an Indian brother and sister, they're doctors. One is working in India, one in USA. The sister has done her MD. She was saying, what kind of struggle. Young Indian girl there in Vermont in a hospital, early days, just completing MD, COVID hit. And this is stories which don't come out. She was saying that, Swamiji, I was put on emergency room, COVID emergency, ICU duty. And that first wave, if you remember, maximum affected was USA. And I was in New York. New York was the worst affected in the whole world. I know at that time, daily there were more than 1,000 deaths per day in one city from COVID. So she was saying, I was put in charge of COVID ward, emergency. And I will tell you, you will not believe me, Swamiji, that 97% mortality rate. 97% of the patients in the ward died. And I'm helpless. What is this disease we don't understand? There is no treatment for it. We are giving some azithromycin and some vitamin C and zinc, and that's it. And then they are dying. And my duty is to wear the full PPE kit, take the iPad, go before the patient, connect to the patient's family. We are not allowed to enter. They will give their final goodbye, then I will disconnect the respiratory machine. One after another, all my patients died. Only one survived. And this is a young doctor facing this crisis. And they realize, like this, any of the doctors realized, patients behave differently, they react differently. Very serious illness, they react, some react with calmness and dignity. I have myself seen dying person, calm, dignified way of dying. Another person, minor problem, complete breakdown. So it is the second arrow which is the cause of suffering, not the first arrow, not so much. And the Buddha said, my teaching will take care of the reaction from the second arrow. So dukkha will keep on coming. What Vedanta does, what your realization, Aham Brahmasmi does, that from that perspective you can handle this dukkha better. How to handle it? Some inner secrets, some subtle matters of Vedanta I would love to share with you today. First of all, very quickly in the time remaining to me, what is the nature of dukkha? What is the nature? What is dukkha? Where does it come from? Three things. Deeper and deeper we will go. First is the way we understand in Vedanta. Dukkhatraya, we say. There is adibhautika, adidaivika, adhyatmika dukkha. Though I will rush through this. Dukkha which comes from external things like too hot or too cold or rain or earthquake or something. External causes, natural causes for dukkha. Or dukkha which comes from other people or other living beings. Mosquito is a problem. When they tempted me to go to USA first, they called it, Swamiji, come to our ashram, we can assure you one thing, no mosquito here. And I went, that was the ashram in Southern California, in Hollywood. I went there, first day I reached, I went into they took me to my room, please come in here. I went and put my bag down and opened the bag, one mosquito flew out. No visa, passport, green card, nothing. From India it has gone with me. That is adi bhautika. So from other living beings trouble is caused. Then adhyatmika, from my own body mind, disease, problems, physical illness, mental illness, these are problems. So these are three, the nimitta. This is one nature of dukkha. But all of these dukkhas, finally they have to come to the body, to the mind. In my mind I should feel aham dukhi, I am in suffering, oh this is so bad, there should be dukkhakara vritti. There should be a modification in the mind in the form of dukkha. It is so bad, it is so painful, it is so miserable. That is the deeper dimension of dukkha. First of all, the three kinds of dukkha. But deeper, the dukkhakara vritti must be there. Even deeper, in that aham dukhi, that aham, the connection, dukkha abhimana, that I am in sorrow. This dukkha is there, it's a vritti is there. There's a subtle difference. Dukkhakara vritti is there. It's so sorrowful, it's so miserable. That's a vritti in the mind. But I am in pain. That's a deeper, understanding of dukkha. So dukkha at three levels. First is the problems which come, and which we say it's terrible for me. Deeper level understanding is those problems must create a vritti in the mind. Then only I am in sorrow. Even deeper level, that vritti must become identified with the ego. I have sorrow. Main dukhi hu. That identification. That consider the vritti first, in the mind. That's where we all feel sorrow. These subtle things we learn from these great teachers. One sadhu said that we think we are disturbed. My mind is disturbed because of samsara. But rather, he said, the truth is, because my mind is disturbed, we think samsara is troublesome. It's rather the other way around. Because in the same samsara, as I said, the same disease, one patient may be breaking down, another patient may be calm. Same problem, samsara is same. But internally the vritti is different. Consider this vritti itself, the dukkhakara vritti. This vritti itself, I will rush through this, I will not explain, it will take whole lectures to explain, but those who are Vedanta, lovers of Vedanta, you will immediately catch. Dukkha, vritti, suppose an unpleasant feeling, emotion, idea is there, I am suffering because of that. What is it? Three levels of understanding. One, these vrittis are nothing other than Brahma Swarupa. Brahman alone, consciousness alone is appearing in these forms. Brahma Swarupa. These vrittis are Brahman. If you cannot go so far, one step down, little compromise. These are Brahma Vivarta. These are appearances of Brahman. Through the mediation of Maya, they take the form of not Brahmakara vritti, Dukkhakara vritti. Brahman is appearing as Dukkhakara vritti, Brahma Vivarta. Second, or even that is too difficult, it is Prakriti Parinama. Our minds are made of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Continuously changing. Especially dukkha is a characteristic of rajas. And so when the mind goes into that particular state, we feel it's unpleasant. So notice, three solutions already. You can regard the dukkha as nothing but a modification of the mind because of one of the gunas becoming predominant temporarily. That itself gives you a lot of peace. Or you can say it's an appearance, like a dukkha you see on a movie screen. Hero is suffering a lot, tragic movie. So you may even weep with the hero. You may even weep with the sorrows of the character on the movie. But at the same time, it's a movie. It's not actually a tragedy. So you have aesthetic enjoyment of sorrow also on the movie. Similarly, dukkha on the movie screen of consciousness, it's an appearance. Brahma Vivarta. Or even more, the radical Advaitin, Brahmaiva. How do you deal with this dukkha? How do you deal with this dukkha? There is a jnana drishti, there is a bhakti drishti, there is a karma drishti. The jnana drishti is the real thing, what they call prajna aparadha. We are making a huge mistake. I think I am this ego associated with this sorrowful feeling. I am suffering. But actually, who am I? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. In which the ego and that sorrowful, that vritti are appearing. I am the witness of both. Even the ego I am the witness, and that sorrowful vritti also I am the witness. So this shift the identification from the ego to the witness. Notice when Shankaracharya sings, Manobuddhya ahankara chittani naham. I am not ahankara also. What an interesting thing. If you translate into English, what will it be? I am not I. I am not the mind understood. I am not the intellect understood. I am not the memory understood. I am not I. How is that possible? then what am I? I am that consciousness in which this ego appears and disappears also. So, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. If you make that shift, then the dukkha becomes like an appearance to you. You are no longer connected to that abhimana, dukkha abhimana. One sadhu said, somebody said to the sadhu, "Main dukhi hu." I am very sorrowful. I love this story. I have repeated it number of times. And the sadhu said to him, "You are sorrowful. Aap dukh ko jante hain? Are you aware of your own sorrow?" He said, "Of course, that's why I am repeating it to you. I am telling you, I am experiencing sorrow." If you are experiencing sorrow, he said, "To aap dukh ke drashta hain, aap dukhi nahi hai." You are, because you are experiencing sorrow, then you must be the witness of sorrow. You must be the experiencer, the consciousness in which sorrow appears. Then you cannot be the possessor of sorrow. You cannot have this dukkha abhimana. I am that aham dukhi. You cannot be. Vedanta is crazy. You do not have sorrow. Why? Because you are experiencing it. I am sorrowful. Why? I am experiencing sorrow. Vedanta says precisely, because you are experiencing it, you cannot be sorrowful. You are the witness of the sorrow. So, that is one way of dealing with it. That is called jnana drishti. But same thing, suppose I am not interested in your Brahma Jnana, I am a bhakta. Then, dukkha itself can be taken as sukha dukkha anugraha of Bhagavan. Ishvara, for God, for our own welfare, to lead us to enlightenment, God realization, is giving us these experiences. So when I get the dukkha, I take it as spiritual practice, tapasya. Notice the very word, dukkha is tapatraya. Tapa means heat. And from the same word tapa has come tapasya, austerity, spiritual practices. Dukkha, it heats up the body-mind system in sorrow and suffering. Now, because we are not willing to face it, because it is involuntary, I say, I am suffering. But if you take the same thing as a practice, this physical pain, this humiliation, this failure, I am taking it as a gift from God, so that in this suffering I can focus on God and hold on to the feet of the Lord and say, "My Lord, my Prabhu, I offer this suffering to you." So dukkha also is a practice. One sadhu very beautifully said, we often say in Vedanta, this prarabdha bhoga, whatever is in our prarabdha, we experience it, we go through it. But this sadhu said, I am using the prarabdha as my upasana of Ishvara. This suffering which has come to me, this is my worship of the Lord. How beautiful. So this is the bhakti drishti, how you can handle dukkha. Then there is the karma drishti. All dukkha and sukha are causality. Actions have consequences. Causes have effects. Whatever I am seeing now is the result of what I have done in the past or in past lives. Whatever I am doing now will create the results in the future lives. I should not fall into the trap. We all want the results of punya, but we don't want to do punya. We all want to do the papa, but we don't want the results of papa, which is dukkha. But we are the one who understands causality. The Buddhists are very big on this. When you see dukkha, it is basically a matter of causation. As the Buddha says, this arising, that arises. This ceasing, that ceases. So it is causality, nothing to get upset about. You set the right causes in motion, life will change. Sukheshu vigataspriya. So when nice things happen, pleasant things happen, we have this thirst. We want to catch hold of it and maintain it. I want this person to stay, nice person. I want this food, more of that. I want this job, this environment, this Facebook likes, whatever it is. So all of these I want and more of that. That is spriya, thirst. The moment you have this spriya, you are caught. So sukheshu vigata spriya. You step back from it. I am this Satchidananda, as consciousness, as awareness. What is it that you need in the movie? If you know it's a movie, what is your wish list, the things you want from the movie? Nothing. All the good things, bad things, you don't care because you know it's a movie. If you saw something in a dream, which are the things that you want to retain in the dream? It's a dream, you are not bothered. The best of things, if you $1 million in lottery, let it go. Because you are... I can donate to Ramakrishna Mission. Why? No attachment. Vigata spriya. But because you know it's not real. Similarly, from that perspective of Satchidananda, I know that these are appearances. There is no spriya. Everything is temporary. Even the best of things, you cannot hold on to it. It will slip away from our hands. Let it come, let it be, let it go. Sukheshu vigata spriya. Then what happens? Vita raga bhaya krodha. Raga, this attraction, I want more and more of it. You transcend this. Bhaya, what is bhaya? Fear. If I think there is something that is threatening what I like, something that is threatening to cause suffering to me, I have fear of it. Anxiety, it causes anxiety. Some person, some outcome of something, some kind of situation, financial, educational, whatever, anxiety is produced. And if that person who is creating trouble for me, who is a threat for me, comes in front, pratyaksha, then krodha is produced. So raga, bhaya, krodha, all of it is connected to this priya, to my demands in this world. But from the perspective of Satchidananda, I realize it is all right. And this raga, bhaya, krodha, they dissipate. Once it dissipates, what happens? Sthitadhi. This realization which I have had, it becomes settled. So we are talking about a very advanced person, that I have already had some clarity, some conviction, aham brahmasmi. How to make it settled and manifest in life. It becomes sthitadhi, muni ruchyate. Muni, the word is very interesting. Mananat muni, one meaning. But muni is also connected to maunam. And muni is connected to that the mind is leena, samleena manasa. Muni. There are different ways of understanding muni. One who is able to be solidly established in the realization, aham brahmasmi. That person can express. That person can claim dukkha nivritti. I have been able to, in the presence of sorrow also, I am untouched by sorrow. And the boat is in the water, water is not in the boat. One African-American activist person, well known from past 20, 30 years, was active. He said, Jesse Jackson, I think, he said, I was born in the slum, it is true. They used to call me, you were born in a slum. I was born in the slum, it is true. Slum was not born in me. So that is the thing. I am in the midst of dukkha. Dukkha does not enter into me. Dukkha sanyoga viyogam. See, viyoga and sanyoga means the same thing. Why does he repeat? That dukkha will come. But that connection with dukkha in my mind, that is cut off. So this is how beautifully Buddha put it. The second arrow will have no problem for you anymore. So this enables us to manifest my knowledge in life, overcome my sorrow and attain peace. I am not running after sukheshu vigata spriya. I am not running after things in the world which the world can offer me, because I am full of peace within. One more point, then I am done. You will notice so far it's a very private kind of spirituality. I have overcome my sorrow, I have got peace. Now I know the technique of overcoming dukkha and attaining peace. But also, all the great teachers, whether it is Sri Krishna, thousands of years ago, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Think of me, contemplate me, and fight the battle of life, wherever you are. Cha, that connecting is there. Not just aham brahmasmi finished, but you have to be active in life. And then in the Bible, Jesus Christ is saying, they ask Jesus that what is the greatest commandment? In the Jewish religion, there are 530 commandments. So which is the best one? Most important. And Jesus said to them, it's a famous portion in the New Testament. He says, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy might. With all your heart and might, you love God. And then he says, and plus one more. What is that? Love thy neighbor. And in this day and age, Swami Vivekananda, Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. For your own liberation and for the welfare of the world. So this manifestation of the divinity within, it's not just one private spirituality. I have overcome suffering, I am in peace, doesn't matter what happens in the world. No, that is carried over into action in the world. You fight the battle of life. Wherever you are, whoever you are, use this spiritual light in your day-to-day struggles, in your day-to-day Kurukshetra. You love God, you realize the divinity within, but you love your neighbor also, everybody else around you. Why? Because there's a deep reason for that. Advaita means that which you think is the world, that which you think is Kurukshetra, that which you think is neighbor, is actually none other than you. Same Brahman in that form. And Vivekananda says, not only for your own liberation, but also for the welfare of the world. This is a complete philosophy of spirituality. This is the secret of the manifestation of the divinity within us. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Now, the session is open for question and answers. Mic will be passed by one of our student volunteers. So it is a request to the audience to put forth your questions.
So a lot of Vedanta people are going to ask questions, but I also want people, the students should be given a chance to ask questions. Those who are back there, the students, you think of some question, be brave and raise your hand, and we'll get to you. But first, somebody here, please tell us your name and ask the question.
I am Karthik.
Yes.
I have a question regarding Vijnana Vedanta conception of Swami Vivekananda. So you mentioned about Brahma Vivarta, right?
Yes.
Appearance in Brahman. And as you know, Vijnana Vedanta mentions that it is a real manifestation of Brahman. So do you think that there are logical problems with that conception? That is one question. Second is Nirvikalpa Samadhi necessary and a sufficient condition for Jivan Mukti? Thank you.
What's the question? Second question, necessary and sufficient condition or not?
Yes, for Jivan Mukti.
For Jivan Mukti. Okay, for Jivan Mukti, yeah. This is well put. But this is a person who's an expert in Vedanta, or at least has been immersed in Vedanta for some time. That's why these advanced questions are coming. So I have to put this question in context. He's asking a question about Vijnana Vedanta. This is a new term. It's been popularized by Swami Medhananda, who is a monk, brilliant young monk of our order. He's in our center in Hollywood now, but he was in Mysore earlier, just a few months ago actually. And he has written these two wonderful books. One is on Sri Ramakrishna's philosophy, Infinite Paths to Infinite Reality, published by Oxford University Press. And the second one, recently published, Swami Vivekananda's Vedantic Cosmopolitanism. First-class works of, from an academic perspective and of interest to all of us who are Vedantic students and practitioners also. Anyhow, there, I will not go into details. It's a long and sustained argument which he has made, sort of a critique of Shankara's Advaita Vedanta. And so one pivotal point is this, what he said, Vivarta versus real manifestation of Brahman. The world is not an appearance of Brahman. Appearance is always false, right? You appear to be a nice person, means not nice. So the world is an appearance of Brahman. And then it is not reality in that case. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. And Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. This is age-old summary of Advaita Vedanta formulation of Adi Shankaracharya. As against this, the real manifestation that you'll have to take up with Swami Medhananda, the real manifestation I fail to understand. If you want to say real manifestation, there are other schools of Vedanta which will be happy with that formulation. Brahma Parinamavada. Now, Brahman is real and the Parinama of Brahman is also real. So does he want to say the world is a Parinama of Brahman? In that case, it is not Advaita Vedanta. It will be Shuddha Advaita, Dvaita Advaita, even Vishishta Advaita also will accept. In some sense, Achintya Vedavid also will accept. But in that case, it is not Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta will not accept that position. And if you take that position, serious problems will arise. Which is the problems of pantheism. That if you say everything is Brahman is become, actually transformed. Man, woman, chair, table, dog, sky, earth, all of that. Then every problem is real in the world. And every problem will affect Brahman. And then there are answers to that in, say, Shuddha Advaita and all that. But answers are all what I might say. Some people may be annoyed with me, but from an Advaitic perspective, we will say those answers are all magical answers. Basically, the answer would be, how is it possible? ये भगवान की लीला है. अरे भगवान की लीला है तो why are you doing philosophy? So, logically, if you want to answer, I think the best logical answer, it comes, the two closest answers which come either is the Vivattavada of Advaita Vedanta or some form of, say, Madhyamaka in Tibetan Buddhism. So these two logically, they are very strong logically. Now, does that mean I don't agree with him? There's this logical question which has to be resolved. In general, I agree with him. So this Vijnana Vedanta idea, it's pretty close to the original Upanishadic doctrines, the Bhagavad Gita. But the problem with the Upanishadic doctrines and the Bhagavad Gita is they have to be systematized into philosophy. When you systematize it, these questions have to be answered. You cannot escape these questions. Second, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is necessary, sufficient condition for Brahma Jnana, for Jivan Mukti. For Jivan Mukti, again, this is the land of Vedanta. All these questions, answers are in this land, Karnataka. Vidyaranya Swami, Jivan Mukti Viveka. He answers this question. Jivan Mukti has three components. Your Tattva Jnana, your Manonasha, and Vasanakshaya. Three things together leads to Jivan Mukti. That Tattva Jnana part of it is what we call enlightenment, that paradigm shift. There you can do it through Nirvikalpa Samadhi, or the classical Advaita method is to do it through Vedanta Vichara. However, Manonasha certainly requires Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So for Jivan Mukti, Samadhi is necessary from a traditional classical Advaitic perspective also, for Jivan Mukti. Your enlightenment, Aham Brahmasmi realization, Brahmakara Vritti is necessary. The ability to control the mind completely is necessary, for which Samadhi is necessary. And complete purification of the mind. Then only the joy of Jivan Mukti is manifested. Okay. Tell us your name and ask the question. And then we should allow, there's somebody from the students at the back, we should allow that, there. But first ask your question.
Hello Swamiji, my name is Medha. I am a corporate lawyer by profession and an artist by passion. So firstly, thank you for everything that you do. You're my guru and guiding light, and I'm your YouTube student. And honestly, my question is in stark contrast to Karthik's question, because I'm going to ask you about Brahman and Ishvara. Now, in one of your talks, Ramakrishna, you had said that Ramakrishna himself had said that whatever your Vedanta has taught you, Vivekananda, my Kali has showed it to me. And Vivekananda himself, in one of his rare talks, had mentioned that Kali worship is a secret that will die with me. And you yourself had made a point that Ramakrishna was actually a Jnani yogi from the inside, but Bhakti yogi from the outside, whereas Vivekananda was actually, a Bhakta from the inside and Jnana yoga from the outside. So this Ishvara, is this Shakti in Kashmir Shaivism, or is it Shiva in Kashmir Shaivism? And if yes, could you please help us understand how Ishvara will lead you to Brahman?
Big question. No time. And I'm repeating, very interesting why. I'm reminded once, many, many years ago, I was just a newly minted sannyasi. This was 2004. I was traveling in the north of India, in Dehradun. There is a huge Tibetan Buddhist monastery. By chance, I got to meet the president of that monastery. They call it the Sakyapa, one tradition of the 4 schools of Tibetan Buddhism. So the head of that monastery. And people were going in a queue one by one. I had nothing to ask. People were asking for blessings. I wanted to ask a question. My question was similar to this. Tibetan Buddhism, Madhyamaka Buddhism and Advaita Vedanta, are they same or different? So I asked him, and I still remember, he was a huge man. He looked down at me. I was bowing down before him. Big question, no time. Yes, Sri Ramakrishna was very clear about this. What you call Brahman, I call Shakti, I call Kali. That, from an Advaitic perspective, we will immediately say, yes, Saguna Brahman. Saguna Brahman and Kali are one and the same. That's why when you say Kali, Durga, we don't say Maya, we say Mahamaya. Mahamaya means Saguna Brahman. Ishvara or Ishwari with all the glory and power. Just I'll say one thing. Often people say that in Advaita Vedanta we don't require God, we are bypassing God. Our revered Swami Bhuteshanji, Bhajananji Maharaj, he used to scold us, brahmacharis. He said, "You fools, jnana is meant to be applied to yourself and bhakti to Ishvara, to God. You fools, you are applying jnana to God, neti neti. And bhakti to yourself. When the dining hall bell rings, now happily going to eat." In classical Advaita Vedanta, there is no doubt, nobody will doubt this. Classical Advaita Vedanta is not only about Nirguna Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi, but also about Saguna Brahman, Ishvara, Upasya Brahma. Gyeya Brahma, Upasya Brahma. Both are equally present in classical Advaita Vedanta. There is no question of bypassing God or denying God. That much I will say. Yes.
Thank you, Swamiji.
There was the student. We should allow the student to ask a question.
My name is Manjari. I'm not a student here.
But you can still ask the question.
So my question is that with the help of Tattva Jnana, when we realize that I am the consciousness and everything is nothing but the appearance in the same consciousness, right? So once I realize that, then shouldn't the need to become Jivan Mukt go away itself? In the sense that from yesterday's talk, I gather that you explained 3 steps to actually take the journey from the realization to actually living it in our day-to-day life.
Yes.
So my question is this: if everything is an appearance, then why should one need to behave a certain way or practice to behave in a manner which we think is correct or good?
You are correct. There is no need. However, remember the original goal, the original promise in Vedanta. What did we start with? Dukkha nivritti ananda prapti. Now I must honestly say to myself, has my sorrow gone? Internally, I must be honest. Am I fully satisfied in bliss? After this realization also, all is Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. Now there is this discussion, again Jivan Mukti Viveka, Vidyaranya Swami, that there is the difference between what is they call Krita Upasti, Akrita Upasti. Those who have followed a strict regime of spiritual practice, going step by step, coming to this realization, they don't need anything more. They will automatically be Jivan Mukta. They will get Ananda and they will attain Dukkha Nivritti. But if I still feel that my sorrow has not gone, I still am struggling with some problems, even though I am convinced, at least intellectually convinced, Brahman is the only reality, I am Brahman, I am convinced, and yet, moment to moment, I am feeling some problems once in a while, then it's good to remove those doubts. It's good to remove those problems also. For that, Nididhyasana is recommended. Vidyaranya Swami gives a whole list of severe practices to overcome those problems. Why? Full-blown joy of Jivan Mukti. Ma Sharada, she put it very, very nicely. This is a very simple way, avoiding all these terms. Somebody took Mantra Diksha from her. And after taking Mantra Diksha from her, that gentleman or lady, I don't know, asked the mother, Ma Sharada, suppose I don't repeat the mantra, then what will happen? Then the mother said, my child, you have taken Mantra Diksha from me. You need not worry. At the end of your life, the Lord will come and take you. Your moksha is guaranteed. However, if you want joy in this life, you will have to practice. So if you are not getting joy, even after Vedanta, Brahmajnana and so on and so forth, then the problems which you are facing have to be removed. For those, the practices, Manonasha, Vasanakshaya, have to be gone through. One sadhu put it this way. Let us forget this advanced, that enlightenment, all that. We have studied Vedanta. We have got some conviction in Vedanta. What next? What next? Many people ask. Everything is an appearance, as you are saying. It is true. Technically, nothing more needs to be done. But I am feeling a problem. What can I do about that? I admit the logic of your argument, but emotionally I am suffering. So what to do? Then one sadhu, he said, Actually, the interesting thing was one gentleman had got a kidney transplant. And he came and bowed down before that sadhu, and it's an actual incident. The sadhu was asking, "How are you?" The gentleman said that the kidney has been transplanted, but doctor has told me that I have to follow strict diet, medicines, etc. Then the sadhu, who did not know much about modern medicine, he said, "Why? You have got this new organ, so why do you need to follow any more restrictions?" The gentleman said, "The doctor told me if I don't follow these restrictions, 3 things will happen. One is, this organ will not be integrated with the rest of the body. Second, I will not get the benefit from this organ. Third, the organ will die." Then that's what happens. The immune system rejects the new organ. Then that sadhu was so excited. He looked at the rest of us and said, "Yahi hai Mahatma ji. You are studying Vedanta. Now you must do these 3 things. That unless you engage in serious spiritual practice, meditation, japa, nishkama karma, all of these practices, and a strict moral ethical life, you don't engage in it, what will happen is this new knowledge which you are getting, which you are excited about, you are convinced about, Aham Brahmasmi, it will not be integrated into your personality, number 1. Number 2, you will not get the benefit from it. That the joy which will come, removal of sorrow, you will not get the benefit. Third, it will not die, but it will get covered over. If you don't, इसका चर्चा अगर नहीं किया तो, if you don't hold on to it and cultivate it. Yeah, that's my answer.
So just to follow up on that, so let's say there is a person who has done strict training of the mind,
Yes.
and does not get perturbed by anything. Let's just assume that, but has no understanding of Tattva Gyan. In the sense, the person is taking this word as a reality and
I
not
understand.
real in appearance. In that case, what happens? Because this person is actually living what eventually one would live after getting the realization.
We will take care of it later on if you meet.
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
So I think we have run out of time, right? So we'll wrap it up. Thank you once again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We are restricting the questions because of the time constraint. Thank you, Swamiji, for an eye-opening session. Now, I would like to request Nityasthananda Maharaj ji, President, Ramakrishna Math, to give away the concluding remarks.
ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। I am allowed to speak in Kannada, so please. Today, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದಿವ್ಯತೆಯ ಅಭಿವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಯವರಾಗಲೇ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಅರ್ಥವಾಗುವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ತುಂಬ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿದಾಯಕವಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಮಾತನಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಅವರು ಮಾತನಾಡಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹುಳಿ ಹಿಂಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬ ಅವರು ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಂದು 5-10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತನಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಈ ದಿವ್ಯತೆಯ ಅಭಿವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಗುಣಗಳ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಯಾವುದೇ ನಾವು ಉನ್ನತ ಮೌಲ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲದೂ ಕೂಡ ಯಾವುದರಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಆ ದಿವ್ಯತೆಯ ಮೂಲದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಈ ಜಡ ವಸ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವ ಮೌಲ್ಯವನ್ನು ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ದಿವ್ಯತೆಯ ಮೂಲಕನೇ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಪಡಿಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳು ಇದೆ. ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಹೇಳುವಂತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ನಿಜವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಅನೇಕ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಭಿವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದ ವಿಕಾಸಕ್ಕೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಗಳಿದೆ, ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ ಇದೆ, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಇದೆ, ಒಳ್ಳೆಯತನ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲದೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯೇ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆ ಇದೆ, ದಿವ್ಯತೆ ಇದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಅಭಿವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಬೇಕು. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಅಭಿವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಜವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೀಜ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆ ಬೀಜ ನಾವು ಅನೇಕ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಬೋದು. ಅದನ್ನು ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಬೋದು, ಆಟ ಆಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಬೋದು, ಡೆಕೋರೇಷನ್ನಿಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೋಬೋದು. ಆದರೆ ಆ ಬೀಜ ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆಯನ್ನು ಪಡಿತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಯಾವಾಗ ತನ್ನೊಳಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸತ್ವವನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿ ಹೆಮ್ಮರವಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೆದಾಗ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಿಜವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಳಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಆತ್ಯಂತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆ, ಆ ದಿವ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊರಗೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿದಾಗ ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರವಾಗಿ ವಿಕಾಸವಾದಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ವಿಕಾಸ ಈ ಮಾನವನ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಸುಖ ಸಿಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಯಾವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಪಂಚಿಕ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲ, ಇಂದ್ರಿಯ ವಿಷಯಗಳಲ್ಲ, ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆಯ ಭಾವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸುಖವನ್ನು ಕಾಣಬೇಕಂತೆ. ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಆಸ್ಪೈರ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೆಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫುಲ್ಫಿಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ರ್ಯಾದರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಷಯ. ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸ್ತೇವೋ ಆಗ ನಿಜವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಮಗೆ ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಶ್ರೀರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದ ಉದ್ದೇಶವೇ ಭಗವಂತನ ಪಡಿತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಅಂತ. ಭಗವಂತನ ಪಡಿತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ನಮ್ಮ ಒಳಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದಿವ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅವರೊಂದು ಭಾಳ ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಥೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ಕೆಲವು ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು ಮಾವಿನ ತೋಪಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರಂತೆ. ಒಬ್ಬ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಮಾವಿನ ತೋಪಿಗೆ ಹೋದವನು ಅವನು ಮಾವಿನ ಮರಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಮಾವಿನ ಗಿಡ ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅವನು ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಹಾಕೋಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಂತೆ. ತೋತಾಪುರಿ ಗಿಡ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ರಸಪುರಿ ಗಿಡ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಬಾದಾಮಿ ಗಿಡ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅವನು ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಹಾಕೋಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಕೊಂಬೆ ಎಣಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಂತೆ. ಒಂದೊಂದು ಮರದಲ್ಲೂ ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಕೊಂಬೆಗಳಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಂತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ತುಂಬ ಜಾಣ, ಅವನೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲೆ ಎಣಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಂತೆ, ಆ ಮರದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಲೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಾತ್ರ ತುಂಬ ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತ, ಅವನೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಮರ ಹತ್ತಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹಣ್ಣನ್ನು ತಿಂದಂತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಶ್ರೀರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಈ ಕಥೆ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ಟು, ನೀವು ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಹಣ್ಣು ತಿನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಎಲೆ ಎಣಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕೊಂಬೆ ಎಣಿಸೋದಕ್ಕಲ್ಲ, ಮರ ಎಣಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಹಣ್ಣನ್ನು ತಿಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸುಖವಾಗಿರಿ, ಆನಂದ ಪಡಿ, ಬಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ. ಹಣ್ಣು ಅಂತ ಯಾವುದು? ಆ ಮರದ ಸಾರ ಅಲ್ವೇ? ಇಡೀ ಮರದ ಸಾರವೇ ಹಣ್ಣಿನಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವದ ಸಾರ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದಿವ್ಯತೆ, ಆ ಭಗವತ್ ತತ್ವ, ಆ ಸತ್ಯ. ಆ ಸತ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಾನು ಅನುಭವಿಸಬೇಕು, ಅದು ಹಣ್ಣು ತಿಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಹಣ್ಣನ್ನು ತಿಂದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನನಗೆ ಸುಖ ಸಿಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆಯ ಭಾವ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರವಾಗಿಯೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಂತರಿಕವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸುಖ ಸಿಕ್ಕತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಶ್ರೀರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣರು ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಒತ್ತಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ಯಾರು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೋ, ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೋ, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಆನಂದದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಆನಂದದಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿ ತುಳುಕ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರವಾಗಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ನಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಆತ್ಯಂತಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದಿವ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಧನಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವ್ಯಾವಹಾರಿಕ ಜೀವನವೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದನ್ನು ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ, ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಡಗಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬ ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ತುಂಬ ಸಂತೋಷದಿಂದ ಸರ್ವಪ್ರಿಯಾನಂದರ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಅವ್ರ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದೇನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾರಸ್ಯ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಶೇಷಾದ್ರಿಪುರಂ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಆಶ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಹತ್ತಿರವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಶ್ರಮದ ತುಂಬ ನಿಕಟ ಸಂಪರ್ಕವುಳ್ಳವರು ಮತ್ತು ತುಂಬ ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕೆಲವು ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನನಗೆ ಸಂತೋಷ. ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Thank you, Swamiji, for the inspirational words. We have come to the end of the session. I now would like to call Ms. Disha, student from Commerce, to give away the gratitude note.
Namaste. Swami Vivekananda once told that the only way of getting divine nature manifested is by helping others to do the same. With that being said, I would like to take the opportunity to propose the vote of thanks to all the revered Swamijis on and off the dais, all dignitaries, and to everyone who were a part of today's exemplary interactive lecture session. Firstly, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Swami Nityasthanandaji Maharaj, President of Ramakrishna Mutt, Bhaswangudi, Bengaluru, for his gracious presence and insightful concluding remarks, which has instilled righteous thoughts among us. Thank you, Swamiji, for your valuable presence and blessings. Next, I deem it a privilege to express my deep sense of gratitude to the chief guest, Swamiji Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj, Minister in charge of the Vedanta Society of New York, for gracing this occasion with his divine presence and sharing his magnificent thoughts and ideas which have enlightened us immensely. Thank you, Swamiji, for your congenial presence and for the informative thought. I extend my heartfelt thanks with sincere gratitude to all the revered Swamijis of various mutts of Ramakrishna Mission for their divine presence. Swami Tadyuktanandaji Maharaj, Swami Mangalanathanandaji Maharaj, Swami Dharmavratanandaji Maharaj, Swami Hari Mahimahanandaji Maharaj, Swami Anilayanandaji Maharaj, Swami Mayadipanandaji Maharaj, and Swami Girijanandaji Maharaj for their presence. Dhanyavadaha. I sincerely thank Shri Vishweshwar Hegde Kageri sir for his valuable presence in today's event. I wholeheartedly thank Professor Gopalan Jagadish, Professor of Aerospace Engineering, Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, for gracing his event with his presence. Thank you, sir. I sincerely thank Shri K. Narendra, past Secretary of Shri Ramakrishna Vidyashala Old Boys Association, Mysuru, for his courteous presence. Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity to thank Nadoja Dr. Vudebi Krishna sir, Honorary General Secretary, Sheshadripuram Educational Trust, for his constant motivation and remarkable presence at times. Thank you, sir. I also extend my thanks to Shri M.S. Natraj sir, Assistant Secretary, Sheshadripuram Educational Trust and Governing Council Chairman of Sheshadripuram College, for his wholehearted support. I also thank Raju Chandrasekhar sir and all the other trustees who always stand as supporting pillars for all the noble activities of the college. I convey my profound gratitude to our beloved principal Dr. Meera H.N. ma'am for her constant and unwavering support. Thank you, ma'am. My sincere thanks to Dr. Vinay S. sir, Director, Sheshadripuram Institute of Management Studies, Yelahanka, for his substantial support. I like to express my deep regards to Dr. Bhargavi V.R. ma'am, Director, Post-Graduation Department of Commerce and Management, for her timely guidance and encouragement. Thank you, ma'am. I also wholeheartedly thank Srimati Savita Bhai ma'am, Office Superintendent, for her unflinching support for the smooth conduct of today's event. Thank you, ma'am. Special thanks to all the faculty coordinators and students of Vivekananda Study Center of various degree colleges of Sheshadripuram Educational Trust for their cordial presence and cooperation in making this event a successful one. Thank you all. I also thank all the public devotees who have been with us through this session with true urge to listen to the mellifluous talk of Swamiji. I extend my thanks to all the HODs, teaching and non-teaching fraternity for their wholehearted cooperation. At last, I would like to thank Vivekananda Study Center faculty members, Dr. Maheshwari Madam, Dr. Narsimurthy Sir, Professor Anusha Madam, Mukund Sir, for their support and cooperation, and with a deep sense of gratitude, I wholeheartedly thank Professor S. Muralidharan Sir, convener of Vivekananda Study Center, for his tireless efforts in making this event a meaningful one. I also thank all the student volunteers of Vivekananda Study Center, NCC Officer Karthik Sir, NSS Officer Manjunath Sir, all the NCC and NSS volunteers, the entire technical team, press and media for all the support extended towards this event. And also, I thank the photographer of the day, Balaji Sir, for his timely support. Once again, I thank everyone present here. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Now, we are going to conclude the event. I now request dignitaries and audience to raise for Shanti Mantra. Soon after this, I request everyone to move towards right side of the auditorium to collect the books by Vivekananda Center volunteers as a token of appreciation for your participation, and later have light sattvic refreshment.
निकामे निकामे नः पर्जन्यो वर्षतु फलिन्यो न ओषधयः पच्यन्तां योगक्षेमो नः कल्पतां क्षेमो अस्तु नः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वेभ्यः सर्वाभ्यश्च धन्यवादान् व्याहरामः कार्तज्ञतां निवेदयामः नमांसि भूयांसि